and welcome to my first class of my kind of basic intro to yoga. We'll go through sun salutation, because everybody always starts their class with sun salutation, talks about them. We'll go through that slowly, also about what taking a vinyasa is, which is kind of the basis of vinyasa yoga. So I'll talk through that, and we'll just do a bunch of the basic poses. It'll be a really nice, easy class to kind of warm up your body a little bit. So we'll start actually standing at the top of our mat. So we want to have our feet hip width apart. We want to have our tailbone tucked and down. Roll your shoulders back and down. The crown of your head reaching tall, your gaze is forward. Your arms are out by your sides with your shoulders rolled back, your palms forward. We'll just breathe into this posture. This is called Tadasana, or mountain pose. Take a few breaths. Inhale deep. And try and make your exhale twice as long as your inhale. So maybe inhale for 4 seconds, 2, 3, 4. And exhale long and slow for 8 seconds, 6, 7, 8. For your next inhale, you're gonna lift your arms up to the sky. And as you exhale, hinge at the hips, coming forward all the way until your body's reaching the ground. So your tailbone is reaching up towards the sky. Your hands can be on the ground or on your shins. Your knees can have a slight bend in them or straight, whatever's comfortable. Try and relax your neck, let your head hang heavy, and reaching your tailbone up high. On your inhale, you're gonna halfway lift. So you're drawing your chest up, so your gaze is forward. You're coming into almost an L shape. Your fingertips can be on the mat or slightly covered. Plant your hands into the mat, and as you exhale, step back. We're coming into the top of the plank position. So you want to have your shoulders directly over top of your wrists, and your heels are reaching back. So you're trying to draw your belly in, like your belly button is coming towards your spine, and reaching back through your heels. As you inhale, you're going to shift forward, so your shoulders are coming in front of your fingertips, and then we lower down through chaturanga, which is kind of like a push-up. It's keeping your elbows close and tucked into your waist. And then once you're low, your belly's not quite on the ground yet, come onto the tops of your feet. And then inhale, press up into your upward facing dog. So you want to roll your shoulders back. The tops of your feet are pressing into the mat. If you want to lower your thighs onto the mat, this is a bit less strain on your lower back, and this is called cobra pose. So whichever one. But if you lower your hips down, still press the tops of your feet into the mat, trying to engage your back legs that way. Now we're going to tuck our toes, and as we exhale, we're going to press our hips back and up, coming into our downward facing dog. So we're just going to take a minute to check in with our position and posture here. Our feet are hip width apart, and our hands are shoulder width apart. You're pressing out through your shoulders, so I have a tendency to kind of collapse my chest in, but you actually want to try and keep a straight line from your arm to your chest. Like you're trying to stay straight, making like a triangle position. Your heels, it's okay if they're up, but just try and do the action of reaching them down towards the mat, and your tailbone is reaching up towards the sky. With your hands, you're pressing through the base of your index finger deep into the mat, and that'll help you push out through your shoulders and not collapse. So just stay here one more breath. And on your next inhale, come on to your tippy toes, bending your knees, lowering your hips down, and then exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat, coming into that forward fold position. So your tailbone's reaching up towards the sky, your head is hanging heavy, your knees can have a slight bend in them. Inhale to the halfway lift, and exhale, fold. And then inhale, bend your knees, rise all the way up to standing, and exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. So that's one sun salutation. We'll do one more, a little bit faster. Inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, hinge at the hips, coming forward into your forward fold. Take a breath here. Inhale into your halfway lift, your gaze is forward. Plant your hands. Exhale, step, or you can hop back to the top of the plank position. Now here we're going to go into the chaturanga again. If that was a little too much, you can also lower your knees down, then lower your chest, and then your chin, and then roll your body forward into your upward facing dog or your cobra. So a cobra, your hips are on the ground. Upward facing dog, your hips are off the ground. You're just pressing down through the tops of your feet. Rolling your shoulders back, your gaze is forward. And then tuck toes, exhale, press your hips back and up into your downward facing dog. When we're trying to press out through the shoulders, reaching your tailbone up towards the sky. Inhale as you bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale into a halfway lift position here. Your gaze is forward, your tailbone reaching tall. And exhale, fold all the way down. On your next inhale, you're gonna rise up. I like to bend my knees as I rise up. Arms tall, maybe come onto your tippy toes, just reaching extra tall for one more breath. And then exhale, lower your heels, lower your hands to your heart. So let's start sun salutations. Now we're gonna warm up our spine a little bit more. So inhale, rise up, and exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, exhale, step or hop back to the top of the plank position. And now we're just gonna lower down our knees, coming into a tabletop. So you wanna have your knees directly underneath your hips, and your knees hip width apart, and your hands are directly underneath your shoulders, shoulder width apart. We're gonna do some cat-cows. So as you inhale, drop your belly as you reach your tailbone up and kind of wrap your head back, reaching towards your tailbone. As you exhale, press out through your spine, press out through your shoulders, coming into a cat position, sorry. Inhale, drop the belly, lower the spine, reach the tailbone towards the sky, into your cow. Exhale, curl it in into your cat. Just try and move with your breath here. And inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, curl it in. And inhale to a neutral spine. Now we're gonna take a little bit of a spinal twist here. So inhale, reaching your right arm towards the sky. And then as you exhale, bring your right arm between the kind of square that your left arm and left knee are making. And then lower your right shoulder onto the mat, lower your right ear onto the mat, really getting into that shoulder stretch here. If you want more, you can bring your left hand around your back, kind of touching your right thigh. Or you can keep it on the mat. Taking one more breath here. This is called threading the needle. And then press into your left hand. Inhale back into your tabletop position. Exhale. On your next inhale, lift your left hand to the sky. And as you exhale, bring it through the whole of your right arm and right leg. Drop your left shoulder onto the mat, your left ear down, and stretch into the spine here. If you want more, you can bring your right arm around, trying to open up the right shoulder. So draw your right shoulder back to really twist into the spine here. Exhale, press your right hand back into the mat, and inhale back up into a tabletop position. On your next inhale, you're going to kick your right leg out behind you as you reach your left arm long in front, trying to make it one straight plane, really reaching through your toes, reaching through your fingers, trying to draw your belly button in towards your spine, staying strong in the core here. And as you exhale, draw your left elbow in towards your right knee, press out through your shoulders, out through your spine, curling it in. And exhale, reach long. Inhale, curl it in. Exhale, reach long. Inhale, curl it in, really pressing out through your shoulder blades. And exhale, release. Now you're going to kick your left leg behind you, your right arm in front, really reaching tall, like Reaching your right arm as far as it can go, your left toes as far as they can go. And then exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, curl it in, really pressing out through your shoulders. Kind of making yourself as tight of a ball as you can. Exhale, reach out. Inhale, curl it in. And exhale, release, coming back into that tabletop. We're gonna tuck our toes, lift up on our knees for a second. We're just gonna hover here, and hover in tabletop. And then exhale, press your hips back and up, coming into a downward facing dog. Just resetting here with your breath. And then inhale, you're going to reach your right leg towards the sky. Your heel can be flexed or your toes pointed. Just trying to keep your hips square in line with each other. Coming into our three-legged dog here. If you want, you can bend your right knee, so your right heel's coming towards your butt and your right knee's reaching open towards the sky a little bit to open it into your hips a little more. If you do that, you can shift your gaze underneath your right armpit, or you can just stay in your regular. Your next inhale, you're going to curl your right knee in towards your nose as you shift your weight forwards, and then place your right leg in between your hands at the top of the mat. You can always walk it forwards. You're going to come onto the inside arch of your left foot, so your feet are making a T. Your right heel is in line with the arch of your left foot. And then you're going to inhale up, swinging your arms. You're going to make your hips in line with the long edge of the mat. Your front knee is bent at 90 degrees. Your arms are reaching out long, shoulders are back and down, and your gaze is over your right fingertips. This is called Warrior Two. Trying to lower your hips down, keeping your right knee directly above your right heel. And then flip your right palm towards the sky. Reach your left hand towards your left calf. As you reach your right hand towards the sky, coming into a reverse warrior. On our next exhale, we're gonna reach our right hand down towards our right leg as we straighten our right leg, and our left hand comes into the sky. We're in triangle pose now. So both your legs are straight. You can also bring your hand onto your shin. What you're trying to do is keep your body like it's in one plane. So you're not collapsing your chest forward. You're trying to wrap that left shoulder back towards the sky and stay like you're between two panes of glass. So it doesn't matter how low your right hand goes. It's as long as you're keeping your body straight in one line. We'll take one more breath here in triangle pose. And then as you exhale, swing your left hand down to the mat, squaring out your hips, coming onto the ball of your left toes, plant your right hand, step back to the top of the plank, and then we're going to take a vinyasa. So this is the flow that kind of makes up vinyasa classes. You shift through these cycle of poses every time you switch side. So we're shifting forwards, lowering down through our chaturanga, or you can take that knees, chest, chin, coming onto the tops of the feet, inhaling into your upward facing dog, or lower your hips down into your cobra. Either way, pressing the tops of the feet down into the mat, blow your shoulders back, and then tuck your toes. Exhale as you press your hips back, coming into your downward dog. I always step my feet in a little bit once I get into my downward dog, because the stance, if I go straight from a plank, is a bit too wide for me. So just do whatever feels comfortable for you. On your next inhale, you're going to lift your left leg towards the sky. Your heel can be flexed or pointed, either one. Trying to keep your hips square to the mat first. And then if you want that extra stretch, bend your left knee so your left heel comes towards your right butt. Rotate open your left knee and your gaze comes under your left armpit. Still trying to press through the base of the index finger in your hands. Come back into your regular three-legged dog, and then curl your left knee in towards your nose. As you shift your weight forward, I kind of press out through my shoulder blades as I do this to give myself more room. And then exhale, release your left foot down in front of you, coming up onto your fingertips, and then come onto the inside of your right foot. So your left heel is in line with the arch of your right foot. I like to swing my arms open, and now we're in warrior two on your left side. So your shoulders are back and down, your gaze is over your left fingertips, and your hips are square to the long edge of the mat. See if you can sink your hips a little bit lower, keeping that left knee above your left heel. And then flip your left palm towards the sky, reach your right hand towards your right calf, and your left hand towards the sky, coming into a reverse warrior here. Really feeling that stretch through your left side or wherever you feel it. And as you exhale, we're going to bring our left hand towards our calf or the mat, straightening your left leg, reaching your right hand towards the sky, coming into your triangle pose on your left side. So really trying to wrap your right hip back, rolling your right shoulder back. So really opening your chest up. Remember, you don't have to have your hand down on the ground because often that leads to people leaning in to reach it there. So just go wherever's comfortable. Keep your hand on your calf, or you can have a water bottle or a block here. Take one more breath here in this triangle pose. Trikonasana is the Sanskrit name for it. And then exhale, swing your right hand down to the mat, coming onto the ball of your right foot. Press into your left hand, step your left foot back to meet your right, and that will take a vinyasa. So lowering down through chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. And then tuck toes. Exhale, press your hips back and up into a downward facing dog. We'll take a few breaths here, reaching your tailbone tall, pressing out through your shoulders. They call this a reset pose, but it can also still be challenging. So if you need, you can also lower your knees down and take a child's pose at any point in the class. Right, from downward dog, we're going to inhale our right foot forward, stepping it between our hands at the top of the mat. And then we're going to inhale up into a high lunge. So you're on the ball of your left toes, both feet are facing forwards, and your hips are square. So try and wrap that right hip back a little bit as you can pull your left hip forward. Your front knee is bent at 90 degrees. Your tailbone is kind of tucking in, trying to draw your belly in towards your spine. Same here in your high lunge. You can rise your arms up if you want. And then exhale, you're going to lower your left knee down to the ground. Untuck your toes. I like to bring my hands on top of my thigh. Same here in your low lunge. You can lower your hips down as far as you feel comfortable or keep them up. If you want to open your chest a little bit, you bring your hands up to the sky and then cactus them. And then press your chest forward and draw your elbows back towards each other. Getting a bit of a slight back bend here. Wherever you are, come back into that hands on your knee. And then as you exhale, you're going to straighten your right leg, as you draw your butt back towards your left heel, and then peel up your right toes, coming into a half splits. So this can look very differently. You can be up here, your hips can be directly above your left knee, or you can sit your hips back lower. We're just really trying to stretch into the back of our right leg here in our half splits. Flexing your right toes back towards your head wherever they are. Just really feel into this pose, whatever feels good. Stay there and take a few breaths. From here, we're going to go into one of my favorite poses. It's called Skandasana, and it's a bit challenging, but I think I found a way to describe it well. So we're going to shift forward back into our low lunge, And then come onto the ball of your left foot like we're setting up for a high lunge, but pivot your toes. So now you're almost in that warrior two toe pose. So your left toes are pointing towards the long edge of the mat. Lift your chest up as you pivot your right toes towards that left corner of your mat and set your hips back. So you're kind of in a low side lunge here. If you want, you can peel your left toes back and up so you're coming onto your heel and really lowering your hips down to the ground. You can sit them all the way down, or you can stay up higher. Your toes can be on the mat, or you can be on the ball of your foot. So there's a lot of variation in this pose. Just whatever feels good for you. The higher up you are, the more you're gonna feel it in your right leg. It could be quite a burner. Inhale as you straighten your legs a little bit. You might need to walk them towards each other. Now your toes are going to be pointing towards each corner of the mat, and you're into your goddess pose. So your knees are bent, your arms reaching tall. I should just be facing you, it's easier. So we're here in our goddess pose. So your chest is back. If you want to straighten your legs a little bit, you can, but the lower you go, the more you're going to feel it. And you're going to inhale, straighten your legs, go back this way, and then point your right toes towards the front of your mat. Step. I hope I didn't lose too much of that class. You're going to step your left toes in a little bit, so they're about 3 feet behind your right. Inhale up, your hips are squared to the front of the mat, and then exhale, hinging here, we're coming into our pyramid pose. So you can have your chest straight open like a halfway, or you can exhale and lower your chest down towards your thighs, relaxing your head. Trying to wrap your right hip back. And then press into your hands, step your right foot back, coming into that top of the plank. Shift forward, exhale down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck toes, exhale, press back into your downward facing dog. Take one breath here, big inhale, and deep exhale. Inhale, draw your left knee in towards your chest, pressing out through your shoulders, and place it between your hands at the top of the mat. Coming onto the ball of your right foot. Inhale up into your high lunge. Try and keep your hips square. You're on the ball of your right foot. Your front knee is bent at 90 degrees. You can have your hands up. Shoulders down and away from your ears. And exhale, lower your right knee to the mat. Untuck your toes and come into your low lunge. So again, you can have your hands on your shin. Or if you want that back stretch, you can cactus your arms. Press your chest forward as you draw your elbows back together behind you. Or if you want, bring your hands to your thigh. And exhale as you straighten your left leg, drawing your hips back towards your right heel, coming into that half splits. Remember, this can have very different variations, just wherever feels good. We're trying to stretch into the back of our left leg, but if something else is stretching for you, that just means that maybe needs it a little bit more. So just breathe into whatever stretch you're feeling. Try and relax your head. Inhale, bending our left leg again. Come onto the ball of your right toes. And then open up your right toes so your right arch is in line with the heel of your left. And then you're going to pivot your left toes so they're in line with the right corner of your mat. And then we're coming into our Skandasana. So you can peel onto the heel of your right foot as you lower your hips down, or you can stay a bit higher if your hips aren't as open. Remember, the higher you go, the more you're going to work that left leg. Whichever version of your skandasana you want. If you want even more, I like to, once you're down, you can place your hands on the mat. And then I like to put my left hand down, reach my right arm towards the sky, just for a little bit more of a stretch. From here, we're gonna go into our goddess pose. So your 2 feet are wanting to be pointing towards each corner of the mat. So press into your left leg. Your toes are pointing kind of like the opposite of pigeon toes, and your hips are sitting down. Your arms can be up or bent at cactus. You can walk your knees in a little bit if you need, trying to keep your chest open. Lowering down a little bit more to feel that burn in your thighs. Then exhale, straighten your legs. You're going to pivot both feet, so they're pointing towards the front of your mat. Step your right foot in a little bit, so you're about 3 feet apart. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, hinging forward, coming into that pyramid pose. Both your legs are straight and your hips are square towards the front of the mat. Your hands can be down on the mat, and you can stay up high or you can lower your chest down. Don't try and reach your forehead towards your knee. Try and do the compression through your lower belly. So it doesn't matter how deep you go, it's more about trying to draw your belly in towards your thigh. And then you can relax your head, relax your neck muscles. Press into your hands, step your left foot back towards the top of the plank, meet it with your right, shift forward, and we'll take our vinyasa. So exhale, lower down through chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog, and then tuck toes, exhale, press back into your down dog. Pressing out to your shoulders, reaching your tailbone towards the sky, heels towards the ground. Inhale as you bend your knees, look forward, and exhale, we're going to step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale to a halfway lift, and then, if you can, see if you can flip your palms and place them underneath your feet. You can bend your knees as much as you need here. So your palms out of your hands are going to the palms of your feet, almost so you can massage your wrists with your toes. This is called Padahastasana, or hand to big foot pose maybe. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, you can straighten your legs as much as you want, which will really stretch through the tops of your shoulders and your back. Or keep a bend, relaxing your head, just feeling into this forward fold, reaching your tailbone up towards the sky. If you want, you could also bring your peace fingers and your thumb, hook it around your big toe, and kind of pull your chest down this way. Or you can also just stay with a regular forward fold, maybe bringing your hands together and letting your head hang, swinging side to side. Really whatever feels good. If you have your hands underneath your toes, maybe try to massage your wrists with your toes. It's a nice warm up, especially if you are gonna continue on to do more arm balances. Release your hands from underneath your feet and lower your bum as you lift your chest up, coming into our chair pose. So you want to have your legs hip width apart. Your knees should be not coming over top of your toes, and they don't have to be right above your heels, but kind of in the middle of your feet. Your chest is lifting high. See if you can lower your butt down just a little bit more. And then as you inhale, you're going to press up through your legs. Bring your right knee up. You can grab it with the inside of your right hand and place it on the inside of your left thigh, or you can have it down on your left calf, or your toes can be on the ground. Whatever you do, just don't press on your knee. That'll blow out your knee. So whichever version you want. If you get it up here or wherever you have it, just really try and press your leg into your foot. That'll kind of help center your balance here. So stay in your tree pose. Your hands can be up towards the sky, or in a cactus or at your heart center. Trying to use your toes to grab into the mat to help balance you. Maybe gaze at something on the floor to steady yourself. So exhale, you're going to release your foot wherever it is, and then flex your right heel as you kick it back behind you. And you're going to lower your chest forward, coming into a warrior three pose, or some people call it airplane. You can have your left knee bent slightly or straight, really flexing and reaching out through the ball of or the heel of your right foot. If you want more, you can bring your hands in front of you. We'll stay here for one more breath, wiggling. And then exhale, you're gonna bend your left leg, find the ground with your right foot behind you, coming into a high lunge. Trying to square your hips towards the front of the mat. Your front knee is bent at 90 degrees. And then exhale, bring your hands down to frame your foot, step back to the top of the plank, and we'll take a vinyasa. So inhale, shift forward, exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Maybe you bump your hips from side to side to release into your lower back a little bit more. And tuck toes, exhale, find your way back in your down dog. We'll just stay here for one breath. And then inhale, bend knees, look forward. Exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then we'll just do the forward fold again. So you can bring your hands underneath your feet, grab your elbows, swing. Stay here, just a little short period this time. Release your hands as you inhale. Drop your bum, keeping your feet hip width apart, rising your chest up, coming into that chair. See if you can sit a little lower on your chair than you did last time. Drawing your belly button in towards your spine. Exhale, press through your right foot as you draw your left foot in towards your inner thigh, your calf, or on the ground, your version of tree pose. Again, your hands can be heart center towards the sky in a cactus. Maybe if you want to try the cactus, press your chest forward. It'll make it a little bit harder for the balance. You're getting a back stretch in here as well as you're working on your balance. Exhale, you're going to kick your left foot back behind you as you lower your chest down, coming into that warrior three. So flexing your left heel. Your hands can be back behind you at heart center or reaching tall. Again, if you gaze on something that's steady on the ground, it'll help your balance. Breathe here, and exhale, bend your right knee, find the ground with your left foot behind you, coming into that high lunge. Breathing here, trying to square your hips along the edge of the mat. And exhale, find the ground with your hands, step your right foot back to meet your left, and we'll take our last vinyasa. So shift forward, exhale down through chaturanga, inhale upward facing dog, and exhale, down dog. It's our last down dog of the day, so maybe wiggle your knees a little bit, called walking the dog, bending your knees. Or you can dip your hips from side to side, coming onto one toe as you, so like you come onto your right toe as you dip your hips a little bit to the left. Inhale back to flat. Come onto your left toe as you dip your hips towards the right, back to flat. Or you can just find static downward dog, whatever is good for you. Inhale, bend your knees as you look forward, and we're gonna hop to seated. So exhale, hop, so your feet are between your hands and lower your bum down. Or just find your way into a seated position. Exhale, lower your spine down slowly onto the mat. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Feel like a ball. You draw your forehead into your knees as tight as you can. Exhale, release your legs down, bend your knees again. We're going to flexing our right foot, so your right ankle is on top of your left calf. And make sure you keep your foot flexed, because that's gonna protect your knee. If you have your toe pointed, it like allows your knee to get injured. So make sure your foot's flexed. And then draw your left leg in towards your body, stretching into your right hamstring here. Release your foot back down. Bring your arms out to the side, and then you can lower your knees towards your left side, coming into a spinal twist here. If you want, you could also just have your knees stacked together and twist them to the side, stretching into your spine. Trying to keep your shoulders on the mat. Inhale back up to center, so both feet are on the ground. Bend your left knee, flexing your left foot, putting it on top of your right thigh, and then draw your right leg in towards your belly, stretching through your left hamstring. Exhale, you can bring your left foot and right knee towards the mat as you have your arms out in a T, giving yourself your spinal stretch here, or you can stack your knees on top of each other and just stretch like so. Just whatever feels good with your body. Make sure you're listening to it and not forcing yourself into any position or any form of a stretch that it doesn't feel good. Inhale back up to center, curl your knees in towards your chest, and exhale, release long, relaxing here, coming into your Shavasana. So closing down your eyes, letting your ankles fall up to the sides, hands fall, wherever's comfortable. Close down your eyes and just spend a few minutes here focusing on your breath. Just feeling any sensations in your body that may have changed from when you first started the class. Any places that feel looser, any places that feel sore. Just take note of any little sensations you're having. And stay here as long as you like. I encourage you to stay the longer the better. But when you're done, you can take one last big stretch and find yourself back to a seated position. Thank you for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed this class and learned some things. And yeah, have a lovely rest of your day.